Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Ethan Drew here, and we've got a special guest with us today. This gentleman known as Ebucs. Some of you may have recognized him from TikTok and some other social media platforms. Ebucs, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, just kind of share who you are in short form, and then we'll just kind of dive right in.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me, Ethan. My name is Ebucs. More emphasis on the U there, but you guys know me as Ebucs on social media, and I'm a bass singer on social media. In short, yeah.
Yep, and if you've not heard of him yet, you are probably living under a rock because he has over 1 million followers at this point. Clean over 1 million followers, and they are well earned. So if you've not yet heard his voice or any of his work, I will share just a few clips right here at this portion in the podcast, and then we'll see you back in just a second.
Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, raving soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a fake teacher, man, shields and spears. Vows of favor of the threat of symphony. We're holding tight, won't let go. Symphony.
As you can see, he's a very talented guy. We're going to learn more about him and his journey through music today. So if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, you ready to get into this?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So something first that I really wanted to ask, and this is, I guess, it's a good opener, is what really got you into social media and singing for people through, like, say, TikTok and Instagram and such?
Yeah, so a little backstory is I've actually kind of been a music nerd for the longest time. Like in primary, high school, I was always in the choir. I played the piano and all that kind of stuff. So music was sort of a thing I picked up naturally growing up. I don't know. I would post short little clips on my WhatsApp status for my close friends. Then slowly got onto Instagram. Then TikTok came in and started from there. The rest is sort of history, but yeah, that's basically it.
So let me ask you this then: when did you pick up TikTok? About how long ago has it been?
It's, I would say, almost 4 or 5 years now. I started posting the end of 2020, end of 2019, but then I didn't take it serious till 2020 when the pandemic happened. That's when I really picked up posting.
So it was right around 2020 when you started noticing some pretty significant growth then?
Towards the end of 2020, I would say the first half, I was trying to figure out the kind of content that I wanted to make. It was all over the place. At some point, I did the dances and don't go looking, you won't find them, and other stuff there. And then eventually I came across this acapella group called Ear Candy that made, it's just a group of friends that made videos together. And I noticed the bass was missing in most of the videos. So I was like, okay, I'll add the bass. And that's how things actually started. Yeah.
Yes, I remember Ear Candy very fondly. They are very talented.
Yeah,
I remember
posting.
I know. I remember stumbling across them back in that time period and thinking, well, there's definitely some bass missing there, and I'm sure they could use some voices. But there was a lot of there's a lot of people, including yourself, that picked up on that. And I saw these duets rolling through, and I really thought, wow, that's bringing it full circle. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, is there any one specific person that kind of drove you into music or really made you want to pursue it more?
Well, for bass singing in particular, I would say Jeff Castellucci from VoicePlay. I stumbled upon him through a friend who noticed my duet with Ear Candy and was like, your videos are good, but have you heard of like a cappella groups and stuff? Like you could do so many cool stuff with your voice as a bass singer. And he introduced me to Subharmonics and was like, you should listen to Voice Play. And I heard the ending of the Oogie Boogie song, like everyone says, and then I was mind blown. And then I started learning. 2 weeks in, I unlocked my Subharmonics and, carries on from there.
That's something that I've noticed that you do a lot on your platform, and something that I will also comment that you're very good at in hearing tons of people do subs. Yours are top notch, I have to add.
Thank you.
So for anyone that is not yet familiar with what a subharmonic is, you might be living under a rock at this point, because we do talk about it a lot here on this channel, but for those that are not yet aware, subharmonics are a very strange but awesome vocal phenomenon where you can reach an extra lower note, a full octave below the note you're actually singing. It's hard to explain and better to perform. Like you can hear it and you'd be like, whoa. And
yeah, that was my reaction. The first time I heard it, I was like, how is he doing that with his voice? I want to do that, okay? And then I figured it out along the way. But yeah, it's a really cool phenomenon. And even till it's been 4 or 5 years now practicing the technique, and I wouldn't say I'm anywhere close to mastering it. It's quite still difficult. There are some days where I struggle to get a decent note out of it. But yeah, it's really cool.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, so really, I mean, he kind of got his start in bass singing, but I mean, when did you really start to notice the explosive growth in your TikTok career?
So it was actually when I started incorporating some harmonics into my videos, because initially my duets with Ear Candy was just plain, I think a D2 or a C sharp or something like that would be my lowest note in my Ear Candy duets. And then my friend, like I told you, introduced me to Subharmonics. I delved down into the world of a cappella music and the vocal techniques. And I started getting good at Subharmonics. And I think one of my duets with Ear Candy went super viral. I think like 100,000 likes plus. I think it was Savage. I can't remember what year I posted that, maybe 2022, 2021. And I did this cool trick with the glasses at the end, and I dropped a really low note. I think it was like a drop down to a subharmonic, and I sustained it for the rest of the video. So it was a really cool thing that I did there. It went viral. Then after that, I started making more videos like that. Videos of me also recreating Jeff Castellucci's drops in his videos. I think you've definitely seen me do some of those, like the ending of the Oogie Boogie song, the Headless Horseman, Blackbird, that E1 that he did. So I basically was inspired by Jeff a lot, and I feel like in the earlier years, recreating his low notes was like my journey of learning subharmonics as well, because those notes are really low and hard to reach, especially when you're starting out. When you start out, at least an A or like a G1 would be good to start off with, but when you start going for the F downwards, it becomes more difficult. So I saw it as a challenge, trying to recreate Jeff's low notes, and each time I got it, I was very excited. And when I shared it, it did really well online. So I think that's when I started taking off mostly. Yeah.
What's one of your like favorite? Is there a specific kind of comment that you go back on these videos and look at, and it just really like brings a smile to your face or makes you laugh?
I would say one of the fortunate people online that has a platform that has very little negativity in the comment section. I'm very grateful for that, because and not to say that I don't get negative comments in my videos, but the majority of them are literally the sweetest people. I have the sweetest audience, and there's nothing but encouragement and love, especially when I go for those really low notes.
Oh yeah,
they love them, and I feel like I found my community.
You most certainly have. Is there like any specific kind of like comment that sticks out to you that people will say, and oh my gosh, that is hilarious? Something that somebody might have said on a previous video. It sounds like a burp.
It sounds like a burp. I get that a lot.
I love that
like,
one.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that must have felt good, It's really funny. But I just love it because when I listen back to the videos, it actually does sound like a piano.
A little bit
And
for
no
sure.
air reverb that's on pitch, you know. So yeah.
I remember I've scrolled through some of your videos in the past, and I've seen, and I've seen some of these other ones in like Danny Brev's videos too. I've seen where he has comments that are like, initiate the foghorn, or people will put boat emojis.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's probably my favorite.
It sounds exactly like that. And I think it's good that you actually mentioned Brev because you just reminded me of the second era of when I started to really take off on social media.
Yeah.
It was when I started making more of folk music, like the sea shanties and the Viking music.
Yeah.
That was where I absolutely took off. Okay, Hoist the Colors currently sitting at almost 18 million views. It's probably one of my most viral duets of all time. And from there, that's when I got into the whole realm of making folk music, the sea shanties, the Viking songs, and all that stuff. Yeah.
So, did you participate in that? In the Hoist the Colors that came out with
Davide?
or like Davide and like the bass gang and such?
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
But the Hoist the Colors that I blew up from was
the
the one
actual
with Davide.
TikTok. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the actual TikTok with Davide. He started it off. I went after him. And after that, it became like a huge duet chain with Bobby and everyone. And from there, we all met up and made the viral one that everyone listens to now.
Yeah, for sure. I was just curious because I know there was like an actual full recorded song that came out, and I didn't remember if you were on that roster or not.
I was on the main one that you hear in the North Sea videos. It went massive with over 40 million streams right now on Spotify, which is crazy. You guys should go listen to it if you haven't.
Oh yeah.
But that's probably one of the biggest projects that I've ever been part of, and I'm really grateful that Bobby included me in that. I mean, we all sort of naturally agreed on it. After the TikTok went viral, we all just decided that we had to put out a full version of it.
It's mandatory at that point.
Yeah.
So, moving on to a little bit more of a philosophical side of the interview. So, who are some more of the influential figures in your musical career? Like, who are some people that were pivotal in your success?
Oh my God. I really don't have a particular name in general. I feel like as I started making these a cappella niche specific videos, I sort of found an audience of people that could relate to the kind of music that I enjoyed and related to. And we all sort of became friends. And I think in a way, we all inspired each other to be the best version of ourselves. A lot of what I create is heavily inspired by the popular cappella groups that we know and love, like Voice Play, Pentatonics, Home Free, etc. And all of them are incredible singers, especially, because I focus more on the bass side, I would, mention the bass people more, but in general, they're not just bass singers, they're incredible musicians as well. And what I've learned from them was just not only being the best bass, but also being the best singer as well. So it really motivated me to also try and expand my range and reach more heights that I didn't know I could with my voice, because I was just subjected to being a baritone and I accepted it like that. But then eventually I started practicing and getting better at my higher vocal harmonies. And yeah, the rest is history. It's just no one inspired. It's no Justin Bieber or anyone like that. It's just the people within my community that I really look up to and inspire.
Yeah, without a doubt. Has there been anything said that has really stuck out to you? Like, ever since you kind of broken onto the music scene, has anyone said anything to you that's really stuck in your head that kind of like really pushes you forward, keeps you going every day? Just there's something very important.
Yes, and I actually mentioned it with the last question, is that it's something that keeps ringing in my ear every time, because especially the newer generation of bass singers, when you watch their videos, you realize that they're just too bass centric, that it doesn't really sound melodious in any way, and you just want them to become the better version singer of themselves. So you want them to be the best singer, and the advice that I got was just to work hard to be a good singer in general, not just a bass singer, because it makes it so much easier. If you understand music better, you're able to sing better in general, then trying to do something cool and sound on pitch in the bass end would also come easy and natural to you, right? So that was basically what stuck to me. And another thing, I think back in the day, early, I did get to meet Peter Hollins. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's a really nice person. Incredible person. And another thing that another piece of advice that is helping me now, I know back then I was broke and very conservative, especially with making music videos and being shy to put myself out there. But one of the advice that I got, especially with one of my first releases, was, you know what, you may not have the most expensive microphone or setup or anything like that, but put what you've got out there. You have to start from somewhere, right? So that really encouraged me to really put myself out there. I was very shy. Didn't think that I belonged in the artist musician world. I was just happy making my TikToks. But after having a session with Peter Hollins, giving me the best advice and telling me to just go for it, I went for it. And one of my first releases, it was Come Little Children with Vinny Marchi.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys have seen that one. It's sitting at over 500,000 streams right now, which I can't believe. And that was my very first release. And I was panicking. I was very anxious. I didn't have the best setup at all. If you listen with a more professional ear, you could definitely hear that there was a mic difference between the both of us. But that was just me. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm really happy. And I have more music cooking up. A few years back, me would never do that.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I know the struggle. And so you said that was...
Go for it. No matter what. Put yourself out there, start, and best advice.
That's advice that even I need to abide by, because I've always had that kind of struggle myself. I don't love the way I sound, but I need to live by that advice, and it needs to start ringing in my head every single time I hear it. So that's a really good one. So you said that first project you were on with Vinny was your literal first ever professional work?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Voice the Colors was released before that, but this one was a personal project that I arranged and created with Vinny. And I was really grateful and happy that he was able to hop on the project with me, because I was very scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't mix or master. Definitely couldn't afford anyone to mix or master my sound. And having friends like that, like I was talking about the community and making friends with people that you can relate to and connect with, it was awesome, because he was down to work with me on it the whole step. And I'm forever grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that song, because I actually ended up adding it to my phone because I thought it was that good.
No way. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was always really fun to listen to for me. So I added it to my acapella playlist. But yeah, I had to note that, because that was a work of yours and his that I had a lot of appreciation for.
Yeah, thank you so much. I honestly, at first, I wanted to be pure acapella, because, like I said, my initial obsession and music journey was within the acapella nation. So I was taken aback a bit, but you know what? Vinny was like, it's okay. It's just a few strings, harps in there. It's not going to really go too extreme. So I like the simplicity and how simple he kept the instrumental, and it still gave us more chance. Like, we still had more room to add vocals and harmonize, if you noticed. So at least we still got to show off more of our vocal abilities and not just instrumental overpowering.
I really appreciated the whole not completely a cappella concept, because I know that a lot of people are doing a cappella nowadays, and sometimes, you'll have a song and you'll release it and you'll think, well, something's missing. And then sometimes all you need is just that one little instrument in the background.
Exactly.
And I think the song that you did with Vinny was a perfect example of that, because I really thought that's what it would have needed if it needed more. And the strings are there, and I'm like, this is perfect because it just adds that extra bit of fantasy feeling to it.
Exactly.
That's probably my favorite part of the whole thing. Aside from the low notes, of course. But
yeah.
Then of course you got Vinny being a siren out there.
Oh, incredible siren. I'd love to work with him again. It's just that life happens now and I haven't had time to really get into making more music, but I'll definitely want to work with him again. He's incredible to work with.
Yep, and I'm hoping I can get him to appear on this podcast one day at some point too. I have heard he's great. So I don't know that this has been super clear, but do you actually play any instruments?
Yes, I actually do play a few instruments. I play the organ. I was an organist since I was like 9, 10 years old, and for my Catholic church growing up. So I've been playing organ for the longest time. I self-taught too. I also was the lead drummer back in high school, where like snare drum, really fun to play. And some other basic instruments, tambourine, triangle, xylophone, and the marimba. I recently do play the marimba. It's really fun.
I like the marimba, and I've never claimed to be a good player at it, but I know that if you've ever played a piano, you can kind of, to a certain extent, play like a marimba or xylophone.
Exactly. Because of my experience with the piano when I first moved this side, because I moved to Johannesburg. It's a biggest city in South Africa. That's where I currently reside. And when I moved this side, I was introduced to the marimba, and I was like, damn, this is actually quite easy. I think the very first day I learned the songs, I was able to perform along. So it's really that simple once you understand the fundamentals of the piano.
Oh, absolutely.
And I wish I could learn how to read music. At many years back, I started playing the recorder. I think I still have it somewhere in my house, but I learned how to read a bit of sheet music, but then I left that school, and no other school I went to had music in their curriculum. So
I ended up learning how to read bass clef, but I never did end up learning how to read the treble clef. So I'm somewhat with you there.
Yeah, but it would be so cool. But I feel like it's way cooler for me now because I'm able to instantly listen and pick up notes on my own, which I think it's way more of a better skill to have than being defined by sort of music notations and what.
Man, do you know how many professional singers and musicians there are out there that can't really read music, but they're like in legend status?
Yeah.
So they don't let that hold them back at all.
Exactly.
So, how long have you been playing some of these more instruments, some of these instruments that you have been playing, like the longer ones, the ones you know the most?
Well, the ones that I would say I've been playing the most are the drums and the piano. I've been playing like the piano since I was like 9 years old. So it's many years over. I'm 23 now, so I do the maths, I guess.
I gotcha.
It's been many years. The drums as well. Since I was a little kid, we used to have those little drums that I would practice with. It was really fun. I wouldn't say I am an absolute legend at playing the drums or anything. And I'm talking about hand drums, by the way. Forgot what those are called. But there's a few of them. They said
there's a smaller set of hand drums. It's a small 2 set, and those are called bongos.
Yes, bongos, something of that caliber, but not really bongos. And of course, I mentioned the snare drum being in the band and whatnot. Majorette kind of band, not full set.
Sure.
Then,
Yeah.
but I would love to learn how to play the full set. But at the time, it was just like doing cool flips with your sticks, playing the snare
Yeah.
drums, doing some solos. So yeah, it was that kind of drumming. But yeah, I would say I'm really good at those, and I've been doing them for quite a while. So
What's an instrument that you don't currently play that you thought about
the
taking
guitar,
up?
the
Guitar?
guitar. I absolutely wanted to learn how to play the guitar for the longest time, and unfortunately never got the chance to get my hands on one even. But I mean, I had a friend back in the day. They left me with their guitar for like a few hours, and I taught myself this really simple song. I've forgotten now, but it just goes to show that if I had a guitar with me, I would have done everything possible to learn how to play it.
Absolutely. We need to get a guitar in your hands, friend.
Yeah, dude, what? You guys would be sick of me. The videos I'll be posting.
It is such a fun instrument. So I'm not going to claim to know much about the guitar, but I do have one, and I mess around on it sometimes. I'm not good, but I have fun on it.
Yes. That's the most important thing. I feel like music in general is just like a safe space for me. So whenever I'm around music, I always feel the most at peace. And something just unlocks, you just start experimenting and boom, making magical sounds. It doesn't matter if you're not good, it's one note and you hold that note and then you just sing a few scales on it. That's music.
Pretty
That's
much,
beautiful.
yeah.
And throw in some reverb, and
some reverb, maybe some pitch correction, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm one of those people that really sits there and thinks that music doesn't always have to be a complicated concept or experience either. Sometimes the simplest is the best.
Yeah. And, like looking up to people that are incredible at arranging music. There's Marwan, who arranges a lot of the music from Bass Gang. Really incredibly talented. And I wish I had that arrangement brain of his. But sometimes I also realize that keeping it simple but effective still does the job. And I'm grateful that my audience is happy with it, because the one thing that you don't want to do is to be afraid of putting out music because you're afraid it's not up to the standard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The whole standard complex, that's a tough thing to like really match up to sometimes. Some people will have a certain standard of the kind of music that you put out. You feel like as a creator you might not always hit that mark, but then you get like, surprised by your audience. They're like, this is great, and I'm like, okay, so I guess I met the standard.
Yeah, exactly. Imposter syndrome in music, something that I still face till this day. But you know what? As long as I'm happy, I'm in the hours when I'm inspired, I can go on for hours and just play around with things. And at the end of the day, when I listen back at it, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with this. I put it out. And that's the case, especially with a lot of the videos I put out. It's very strategic. There's a lot of planning that goes towards it to make sure that it sounds in a particular way that will captivate the user's interest. So yeah, I'm happy that at least I've got something figured out for myself at least.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, clearly you've got clean over 1 million followers. So you're doing something right.
Yeah, something right is happening somewhere.
Something is happening somewhere. So, what are some things that people might not know about you? Like something that you might not have shared with your audience before?
Yeah, I think I've talked about it once or twice, but I'm actually a software developer. A computer science graduate, actually currently finishing my honors. So I'm a huge tech enthusiast. I feel like if I wasn't making music, I probably would be a tech influencer because who knows, maybe I'll try and introduce a bit of it into my channel. Otherwise, I'll probably make a whole new channel for it. But I love my tech so much, and I'm in tech in general. So much fun. I feel like it has always been what I've always wanted to do. So the fact that I also got music is great because I loved both music and tech. Fun fact, which I don't think anyone probably knows, I don't have any formal training in music any way, shape, or form, but I always wanted to actually get a second degree in music.
Wow.
So I don't think everyone knows that. But eventually I was like, if I got this far without an actual degree,
think of how much farther you could potentially go, right?
Yeah, that's a possibility, but I feel like at this point I'm good. Okay,
Honestly.
I'm already sick of going through honors. Once I'm done, I probably won't even further it to masters or PhD. I'm just tired of
Justified.
learning. I just want to, make enough money to take care of myself at this point.
Justified.
Being an adult is something that no one prepares you for. You're with your parents till you're 18, and after that, it's you trying to figure things out. It's not easy.
Yep, I'm glad someone else can really sum it up in a short sentence.
Yeah.
Once you hit 18, you figure it out. You got to adult now.
Yeah.
It's a rough transition sometimes. But what are some things that you do in your off time when you're not singing or recording?
Being absolutely lazy. Like just bed rotting on my couch all day watching movies, series. I love Family Guy. It's playing in my background 247. American Dad as well. It's a rotation 247 playing the background out. I love nothing more but my peace and solitude.
Mhm.
But sometimes I'm also slightly more outgoing, hang out with my friends. I love bowling. Yeah. That's it.
I have to add, you were sitting in the podcast right now with someone who's quite possibly the worst bowler out there in existence. So I think it's like someone that might actually be good versus the worst bowling player in existence. Like, I cannot play bowling for the life of me.
I would say I started like a year ago, give or take. So I wouldn't say I'm the best, but I would say I have good aim. I have really good aim. I think from the first time I played, I noticed that I had really good aim. So yeah.
Yeah, I have don't put me out there on the bowling track because I am going to mess something up. I think the last 2 times I went bowling, I either damaged something somehow or broke something. Like I am that bad. And I remember one of those games I finished with like less than 50.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am that bad. I can't even play without the guards up.
Yeah, no.
It's sad.
I cannot relate.
Got a free tip you can offer? Maybe I'll get above 100 at some point.
Yeah. Let me know when that happens. I'd love to see that. I think it's actually crazy because I think a few days ago I actually took my dad bowling for the very first time, and he got over 88. So he did better than you probably in his first time. Probably. Who knows? But I feel like it's really intuitive. Like you just try and keep the ball as straight towards the center as possible.
And that's another something that's really cool about that. And we'll kind of move on to music again. But I did want to make a passing mention to like how much talent it really takes to really get that ball pitched down exactly right. Because you can throw so much curve to it and it can just bowl exactly how you want it. So I feel like it takes a lot of focus and a lot of skill to really nail that pitch down.
Yeah, that's true. I wish I thought it was just keeping it straight the whole time, but I realized that when I look into the whole law of bowling, people have techniques. The ball spins and it still gets a strike. I don't know what sorcery they're applying to get those fancy tricks up there, but I'm happy with where I am,
It's the flick of the wrist, from what I've been told.
It's the flick of the wrist. Yeah, sure.
But I had to make a mention to that because that's always baffled me is how they get such good bowls every time and they move their hand every which way before they actually release the ball.
Yeah.
So circling back around to music for a little bit, do you happen to have any warm-up routines that you might do before recording?
So I'm probably the worst person at answering this question because more or less, no, I don't. I did get Brev, as you know, is a music professional. is a professional opera singer and has way more experience in music in general. So I remember I did reach out to him a while back, and he shared some really useful tips, especially for practicing my falsetto, high range, all the stuff that I mentioned earlier. But I think for me, it's just doing simple scales, octave jumps, just to get myself in it, in the zone. Then I just turn on my camera and start recording.
Yeah.
So it's nothing crazy. Oh, and I always have water with me. It helps. This one, I think it should be common knowledge, but I actually got inspired. Well, I got this one from Jeff. I think he made a video back in the day on how to do subharmonics, and he was like, he always has water. I was like, okay, Jeff does it, I should do it. Kind of dumb, but yeah. Now I don't go a day without having water on my desk before singing. It helps a lot too.
I think it's crucial too, because some people don't realize the importance of keeping your vocal cords hydrated.
Yeah, it's very important, especially when you're when you're making these recordings. Fatigue comes very quickly, especially when you're repeating the same note over and over again to get it perfect, especially with subharmonics. People don't know this, or maybe they have tried and explored and seen for themselves. It takes a toll on your vocal cords. Like, you're trying to push for that E1, for an example, and it's difficult, and you repeat it over and over again, and it's just not happening. Eventually, you get so exhausted that you literally pass out. That's happened to me a few times. So, yeah, having water definitely helps, and taking breaks, taking a lot of breaks. It's very important.
And really resting your voice too whenever you're not using it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. All right, I got one more for you, and then we'll take a little bit of a break here. Do you have any tips or life hacks for anyone that sings or wants to make a career out of singing that hasn't yet?
A tip, a very important tip. I'm not the best singer out there. I've accepted that a long time ago, but I'm becoming a better version of the artist that I would like to be. Right? An artist is someone that's very creative with the way they approach their music, especially. And I feel like you don't need any label. You do not need you don't need to throw a lot of money into things. If you have a camera, a nice, decent microphone with you, and you have a voice, right? That tip, make use of social media, especially people that are actually talented and are trying to break into the music industry but don't know where to start. Social media, that's the answer. And I've been telling a lot of people, because I've had people message me telling me that they have a friend, they're doing a bit of gigs here and there, just trying to break into the music industry. And I'm like, yeah, can you give them any tips? Because you have millions of followers and it seems to be working for you. The numbers you're racking up on Spotify is great. I have no one backing me up. It's all me, and it's all through social media. Okay, so as long as you have that phone, you have that camera, you have that cheap microphone for $30, I think that should be enough for you to get your music career started. You build your audience, you find your audience, you can do trends, popular songs, and eventually introduce your audience to your style, because once you've built that solid fan base, they will follow you all the way, no matter what style you introduce to them later in the future. So do not wait for some label or whatever to discover your talent. As long as you have the talent and the necessary technology with you, start. Social media would get you very far.
And I think it's something important and very, very crucial that you said in there too, is that it doesn't require much to get started and really have a solid foundation. I think some people live with this notion in their head that they have to have the most expensive setup and only the best equipment, or they're going to fail. And that's not the case at all. And I wish more people, I will pound on that podium until the day I die. It does not require that much.
Exactly. Fun fact, for the first year, that early in 2020, half of 2021, my phone was my mic. Right, I would go on the native recording app, voice recorder app on the thing. I would sing right next to it. I mean, there was no pop filter, so sometimes it will get through, and I would have to step it. But like this, with my phone, I recorded into it, imported it onto like CapCut, and pieced out my TikToks together, you know, and it still wasn't the best quality, but it was still a decent duet, you know,
Yeah.
and people still liked it. So I didn't need any microphone, and my first few 100,000 followers was just me using my phone as the actual mic. So it just goes to show that, oh, and you also have to pick up learning how to use a DAW to edit eventually, but you have to start from somewhere. Just raw vocal, you know, no editing. I didn't know what reverb was or equalizer. It was just straight from the mic of my cell phone. So yeah.
It's perfect. And you don't have to know everything going into it either.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of being a novice.
You have to be inquisitive, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, if you're someone that's fortunate enough to have money, you can always outsource it. That's okay. You know, you don't have to know how to do everything. I think that's another powerful piece of advice that I got from Peter Hollins as well. He emphasized it because I was very worried when I started out at first. And he was like, you don't need to know how to do everything. You know, if you can find a friend or have some money and outsource it to Fiverr or something like that, I think that will help you get on the way to achieving your goal.
Yeah.
And doing nothing is the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's something that's very important to kind of highlight. Starting from nothing and getting to over 1 million followers. How does that feel?
It feels incredible. Honestly, it's unbelievable too. Okay. From being this nerdy kid that just was everywhere doing everything, to having millions of followers on social media, it's crazy. When my friends find my page and are like, what? Is that the same guy that we scored with? You know, like, it's crazy because none of this was expected, like, at all. So I'm honestly grateful and happy that I found my community of people that just nerd out with me.
Yeah. At what point did you say to yourself, wow, this is surreal, and this is actually happening?
I don't know. I think probably my first 100,000, or if not, when I got to the 500 mark, it was like, no, what is happening? You know, I started getting invited for events, like TikTok, YouTube, and all that stuff, you know, and not only that, the amount of friends that you make along the way.
Yes.
I have some really cool mutuals, you know, because of this. The very same voice play group that I idolized, the very same Jeff Castellucci that I talked about, are mutuals with me. And I started up idolizing them. And now we are friends on social media. Like, it blows my mind. RV from Pentatonics, Matt, the current bass for Pentatonics. All these people are cheering me on, you know, and it's crazy to think about that. I watched these people for years, learning from them, and they are here cheering me on. That is incredible to think about, honestly.
I share very strongly in that sentiment because I've kind of had a bit of a similar experience in my side of in my nook of YouTube and social media. I remember, and I'm proud to say that I've gotten to be pretty good friends with him since, but Peter Barber of the Bass Gang, he has been a huge mentor of mine, and I have followed in his footsteps when it comes to a lot of things. And the very same person that I used to watch on YouTube and some of the other people that I've used to watch on TikTok, I'm now officially literally friends with and have a fairly somewhat common communication with. Like, it's sometimes on a regular basis. That's the part for me that really makes things kind of surreal. You know, it's not just like people aren't untouchable, you know, and people appreciate what you do, and before long you make friends that are just doing the same thing. They might be way above you, but they're all there just doing the same thing as you.
Exactly.
It's really surreal.
Incredible. And speaking of Peter, he does one of the best vocal analysis that I've seen, and I watch every single one of them. I think especially the way he breaks down arrangements, it also helps me when I am creating my own arrangements for videos. To think using that musical mindset, and it really helps me a lot. I think my arrangement sense improved a lot watching his videos. So yeah, shout out to Peter Barber.
Absolutely. He is just he's just an insane genius.
Oh, and the charismatic voice as well.
Yes, TCV. We love Elizabeth.
Yes, incredible.
She is so smart. She's made a really good living, and she's doing really well. It's good to see that.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about how just doing something that you're really passionate about can go a long way for you, especially with the power of social media. And that's why I emphasize it a lot, that no matter what skill you have, like I grew up knowing always that I wanted to be a computer scientist, but I was also really in love with music, and now I get to do both and really reap the benefits. So yeah, and it's all thanks to social media. It's crazy.
Couldn't be happier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of go into a little bit of a transitionary period. So break from all of my questions. I've got pretty much all the standard questions out of the way that I typically ask. Yeah. So now you're gonna have a couple minutes to kind of plug yourself, talk about yourself, what you've got going on in your life, maybe advertise a little bit, just kind of share what you got going on. You have the floor for the next couple minutes to kind of talk about all of that.
Okay, so I think I've basically said most of what I haven't really shared with the rest of my audience and the world, but going on in the future, I'm trying my best to release more music. It's definitely one thing that I realized going into this whole music thing is that I have a genre, right? And I love that genre so much, and I want to put out more music within the genre. And stay tuned, people, because there's going to be a lot of really cool folk music coming your way. I would love to collaborate with more people. I have a lot of dream collaborations. I don't know if any of them are going to come true, but step by step, we're going to get there one step at a time. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel to 100,000 followers. So we are currently sitting at 70, 74, 75. And so for those of you watching, if you want to hear more music from me, definitely go check it out on at Ebucs on YouTube and help me get to 100K. It would be nice to have that silver plaque somewhere in my living room. And also, yeah, you can find me everywhere. I think one thing that I do really badly is advertising, because I find it very weird, awkward, and also the algorithm does not like it. Let me tell you something, with TikTok especially, anytime I try to advertise my releases, it just does the worst numbers. So it's sort of counterintuitive, because that was the whole point. TikTok was meant to be the funnel to get people to actually listen to your stuff, but it doesn't like it. So at this point, I'm have a more of a positive attitude towards it. I believe that my audience would find me. So somehow, if someone able to stumble across my music and they really like it, they would listen to it. And I think it has been working well so far, although I need to do more advertising. So guys, please definitely go check out my music. I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, any platform, YouTube Music. Go check it out at Ebucs. My recent release was Santiana, a really fun arrangement that I came up with, and it came into me in the shower, actually. And I immediately rushed out and took my phone and recorded like a dumb demo on my phone, and I started recording. So when the other bass singers agreed to do it with me, I was thrilled, because the last project that we worked on was Voice the Colors, which was a few years back, I think in 2022.
Yep.
So very excited and honored to be able to work with them on it. And it's currently hit 100,000 streams on Spotify, which is great. So I didn't do a good job advertising it, but it's growing. It seems to be received well. And please feel free to go listen to it if you haven't. Yeah. That's basically it.
Yep. So guys, and for those that don't for those that are seeing my channel for the first time, I do always link my guests' information in the description, so that way you can easily go visit their content. So, yep, make sure you go check out his info, his music. As you can tell, he's a very cool guy, very nice, very talented. So make sure you go follow his stuff.
Thank you. And make sure you also subscribe to Ethan's podcasts. You have really cool guests on here.
Thank you. It's been a lot of work getting some of them to come on, because I know with all of us being this busy in the music industry, it's difficult to get stuff like this lined up. Because I know I was gonna say, because we had trouble getting it on the calendar. We had some stuff we had to work around, and we've been working on it for time zone. Yep, and it's just it's that, and then obviously we have our own schedules to work around. As I still work a full-time job outside of YouTube, and he's going to school, so but far and away it's so worth it when we're able to really sit down and just chat about the guests, example, like journey through music, because that's what this whole podcast is all about, is helping people better understand the artists that they like to listen to. Just listen to their journey. They might learn something they've not heard before.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like my journey has just been it's me posting the same videos in my room the longest time, and it's still the same case. I still have no team, no nothing, and I'm still growing every day somehow. So I really thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And it's like I said before, go visit his stuff if you haven't already. Very talented. All right, so we're now going to move on to the last little stretch of the podcast, where you have the ability to ask me anything that you would want to ask me before we wrap up. So you have the floor to ask me whatever you want for the next little bit.
Oof, putting me on the spot there. I didn't really, I don't really have anything in mind. Apart from, you already mentioned that you do work outside of YouTube. What is that like?
So the kind of work that I do, I'm actually more of in accounting. It's accounting style of work. So I do a lot of processing pharmacy payments for my company's clients. So we basically handle the transactions for those clients. And those clients, we do serve a lot of larger pharmacy clients in the US where I work.
It's really cool. Yeah.
So I mean, it's an all right job. I enjoy it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's paying the bills. It's one thing that I realized, especially with this whole adulting thing, is it's always good to have an extra source of income, because sometimes we've got to be honest with ourselves. Yeah, everyone's sold the thing that computer scientists make good money, but when you're starting out, especially in the first years, the start is not going to be that great, right? So you have to work your way up, and it's going to take a bit of time, but having something else doing is great. And I'm glad that more people are doing stuff like that. Your podcast is great. I'm actually not sure. You do make music content as well, right?
A little bit. A little bit, because it was like I was saying before, I do tend to struggle with imposter syndrome. I kind of tend to loathe the sound that comes out of my voice, but I do sometimes stretch my legs and post an occasional duet.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Me too. Me too. Okay. Till this day, I feel like my voice can be way better than it is right now. But honestly, I try my best. As long as my audience's ears aren't bleeding to death, it's great. In fact, now that you mention it, remember your earlier question about one comment that sticks to me each time I open the comments, and it's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's the eargasm comments. Okay, I get those a lot. And it's good to know that at least they're not screeching, bleeding out of their ears. They're getting eargasms. It's great. Honestly, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh, but that's great. That's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know that question, this little section of the podcast tends to catch a lot of people off guard, but I kind of do it that way just to kind of, not only keep them on their toes for entertainment purposes, but to really kind of, if something jumps out at them and they want to know and they didn't plan for it, it just kind of happens in the moment, spur of the moment kind of thing. But anything else?
No. So who would you say is probably one of your favorite interviews, or okay, not favorite, your hardest to get interview? Like,
ooh, that's a good one.
because
So
I've seen quite a long list of people, and yeah.
let me think, because I've got two more interviews coming up that were pretty hard to line up, but I'm trying to think of interviews that I've done in the past. There have been a couple that have been pretty difficult. Let me think back a little bit, because I know I've had some that were hard to line up and some that were really easy that just popped right up almost immediately. Let's see. Sort by, and we'll do videos. I'm sorting through my podcasts because I have to really think back a little bit. I would have to say one of the harder ones I've had to line up, I would probably have to say David Michael Frank. I did one with him about 6 months ago.
No way, really?
Yeah, he was kind of hard to get a hold of for a while.
No, I can imagine. He's insane.
Yeah, he is a very cool individual, though. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to listen to that podcast yet, but he's one of the most down to earth guys I have ever met.
Yeah,
Sure.
I've joined a couple of his lives on TikTok. He's really a really cool guy.
He is, and I'm lucky enough to have his personal number, and I've checked with him on a couple of different things that have popped up in my email inbox in the past few months, and he's been a very good resource for me, without a doubt. I'm trying to think of another one that was pretty hard to line up. I would have to say probably the other one that was hard to line up would be either Elliot Robinson or Bobby Bass, because of just how busy they were at the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Bobby is booked and busy. The whole group, the Wellerman and those guys are booked and busy. They're always working on something. Even to record Santiana, I remember it took way longer to complete that project because everyone was super busy with not just their daily lives, but with like touring and activities, that it was hard to get everyone sync up. But at the end of the day, they pulled through. The really, really, really nice people.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, I have a couple of people that, for the sake of, we'll say tension, keep people excited, we'll keep some of those names out, but I do have a couple of people who I have been fortunate enough to actually get a response back from, let alone a shot at getting the podcast, but I've even gotten a response from. They're the people that I'm in touch with. They're going to be very hard to get a podcast lined up, but it's going to be incredible and groundbreaking for sure if I'm able to line it up.
Yeah.
So, I say I'm going to keep those names a secret, but I've got some really cool stuff in the works.
Yeah, excited to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see who I'm able to get in touch with and just hear about their journey.
Of course. I'm sure your audience would love it as well, because I have a strong feeling that your audience is very is basically my audience and every other person related. So we'll definitely be happy to see these people on there.
I have some amazing people in this audience that are they are fiercely loyal and fiercely kind.
Yeah. No, for
And
sure, for sure.
and
People in
I
the bass singing nation as well, absolutely
mhm,
beautiful people.
agreed.
So accommodative, so welcoming, so down to earth, you know.
Absolutely. And and some of them are the real reason why I'm here too.
Mm.
I wouldn't have made it to where I am without people like some of the people in the Bass Nation. We got Peter, obviously,
Yeah,
Bobby, Marwan, Casper, all of them. And those are some people that you have to pay tribute to because they're just key founders of the whole Bass Nation.
of course.
Any questions? Any other questions that pop up?
Um, no, I think this has been an incredible chat. It was great that we finally got to do this,
I know.
and I'm very excited. Very excited to see the next few guests that come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Really,
And
really excited.
yep, I'm excited too. It's been a huge pleasure having you. I do have one send off question that I ask all of my guests
Okay.
before we wrap up, and it's a pretty intense question, but it has so many people wondering. But if you could steal a fellow singer's voice, alive or passed on already, whose would it be, and why?
Oh, this is a really, really difficult question. I feel like there's so many talented singers out there, right? It's really difficult to pick and choose people. But one thing for sure is I would love the depth and smoothness of Jeff Castellucci's voice.
Mhm.
Um, the natural grit and the timbre in Tim Faust's and RV's all mixed. I want a mix of all three, and then top it off with Brev because he has the incredible versatility. Like he can sing really high and really low at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Effort.
Effortlessly.
I couldn't. That's how starstruck I am of Brev. He is incredible. So
Mm-hmm.
if I can have all of that, I'm unstoppable. Like, and of course, why not sprinkle in a bit of Eric Holloway? Because why not?
He's got such a low-lying, rich voice. It's
Yes,
wild.
it's incredible. And I don't know if anyone noticed this, but if you listen to the arrangement of Voice the Colors, um, I took a bit of inspiration there, giving Eric a solo, and I chose exactly what stanza to give him the solo because I knew at exactly that moment and point that drop would get people to shit their pants. And I've watched a lot of the reaction videos that people made of Santiana, which I love, by the way. Thank you guys so much for making those videos. Everyone has the same reaction to that. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's a really good combination of singers to want for a voice that you could steal. Because that would
Yeah.
literally be, that would be like God tier. That, like, at that point, you'd be unstoppable.
Exactly. Because let's not forget, Jeff has that rock side of him, which he doesn't share with us a lot more often, and I wish he does.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the really smooth low notes and subharmonics. And then we have Eric for the slightly more lower voice acting voice kind of thing he has going on there. I'm trying to imitate it, and I'm not nowhere close. But and Brev, you know, I've tried doing some operatic singing in some of my videos or to imitate the tone. And sometimes I just look up to Brev and I'm like, yeah, how would Brev do this? Like,
What would Danny do?
crazy. Yeah, what would Danny do? But yeah, it's crazy. And these people are just very niche specific. So a lot of people probably wouldn't even know who these are. But I feel like with the people that I associate myself with, those are the people that I would love and I look up to and, you know, aspire to get their vocal, you know, just bits and pieces of their vocal talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Well, thanks again for popping in for this chat. It's been awesome having you. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We love you. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next podcast.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today. This video is made possible by patrons like Miss Nancy Flesher. If you are interested in getting shoutouts like this at the end of my videos, make sure you hit the link in my description to go to Patreon, where you have the ability to do so. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I love you. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.